I would just like to welcome Gemma Cantillon, who has really kindly agreed to share her journey on the Infinite Life and Leadership programme. So welcome, Gemma.
Thank you.
And just really grateful that you are able to do this for me. It's very, very kind of you. So maybe if you want to just explain a bit about where were you before you started the programme, a bit of background about yourself.
Yeah, so I was in lead HR roles for over 20 years. And for most of that time, I really enjoyed working in HR. I love working with people. But at some point, I think I probably started to realise that I was finding it tiring, perhaps. And I realised that it perhaps wasn't the path for me for the next 20 years. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I kind of was getting a sense that this wasn't what I wanted to do forever. So I decided to leave my job without another job to go to give me space to think about what I wanted to do. And so I did that and had a break. But to be honest with you, I couldn't quite get to what my purpose was on my own, which is at the point I decided to ask if I could work with you to help me to achieve that.
Brilliant, yes. And so I know when we initially spoke, you would say I knew that you'd left your main career, if you like. So this was a big change for you and possibly a big commitment. And other people might like to hear, I mean, what were some of the barriers that came up for you in terms of committing to something and perhaps investing in yourself?
Yeah, there were two main things. One was myself. I kept putting in blocks, I think, to thinking, well, should I do this now? I knew that I wanted to work with you, actually. Our paths had crossed in the past, and I knew that, and you resonated with me. I've been watching your content on YouTube and on LinkedIn. But I kept thinking, well, actually, I'm quite happy as I am I? And I was happy as I was, but to be honest with you, I knew that there was a deeper purpose for me, and I really needed to kind of get past myself. I was putting my own blocks in place, really. The second thing was the money, if I'm really honest with you, the initial investment. I think it always feels like a big deal when you're going to put an outlay of money. But as soon as I've done that and I've started the programme with you, it wasn't an issue anymore. I kind of overcame that, and it was like, actually, this is an investment, exactly that. It was something that I needed to do to help me move forward. So that, yeah, they were the main two things, really.
Brilliant, thank you. And so once you started the programme, as you said, what kind of impact did the programme have on you? And was there anything that you were maybe surprised about that you wasn't expecting along the way?
Yeah, so the impact of the programme was huge. I have to say, and I know people say this phrase, but it really has been life-changing for me, and there is no going back for me now. So I learned to speak my truth. I had so many aha moments, sort of that you guided me to find out things about myself and dig really deep to understand, maybe move blockers that I put in my own way, fear of new things. And obstacles. So yeah, they were the things that really helped me. I'm sorry, what else did you ask?
So what was there anything that you maybe weren't expecting? So in terms of achieving your goals or anything that you got?
So in terms of my purpose, had no idea what my purpose in life would be, other than I knew I wanted to work, help people, help others, and that was it. So when we went through the process to work out what my purpose was, that was a really big surprise. Something I never would have got to on my own. And yeah, so that's been has a massive impact on my life.
And maybe if we tell people some of the things that we did. So there was some meditation work, wasn't there? So would you agree that you were able to then maybe access some guidance, some inner guidance, and using your intuition and learning to how to do that, or relearning how to do that?
Yeah, definitely. That was really key, actually. So I'd been doing a little bit of meditation work on my own before we worked together, but it was quite light touch, and I probably hadn't learned to be able to be present and quiet enough to be able to listen carefully to my intuition. So that was really important. That allowed me to kind of move away the obstacles I was putting in place for myself, to be able to see more clearly what my intuition was telling me and to listen to it. I learned how to do that. And some of the other things that were really impactful that I learned through the program was that I had been telling myself a lot of myths, a lot of untruths that had been embedded over the years that I'd been in work. So through the steps in the program, we were able to clear those myths and replace them with truths, and so that I was being my authentic self, and I am now my authentic self, and I'm able to speak kind of confidently about what that is now.
Oh, that's brilliant. And so who would you recommend this program to, do you think? Who would maybe benefit from this in the same way that you did?
I think other kind of senior leaders, really, people in leadership position who are thinking that perhaps they do enjoy their role a bit, but really deep down, if they listen to their intuition, there may be signals and indications that they're perhaps not quite on the right path for them. There might be things they need to learn about themselves to help them grow as a person, or to help them develop, move forward in their career, or even, like me, have a complete change of career. So I think they would be the people that I would suggest would work really well with you.
Oh, thank you. And why do you think it's unique? What makes it I know that it's been a very bespoke journey for yourself, and maybe at the beginning you're not able to necessarily set out exactly what's going to happen, and some people might be a bit wary about that, or a bit nervous about committing to something which they don't really know what the outcome's going to be. So what could you tell them about that, do you think?
So I think for me, because I'd been used to a lot of structure and in my work, and expectations about what we would do every single step of the way, and of course through the process that we've gone through, the bespoke process, we have followed through steps quite clearly, but at the start of each session I didn't necessarily know what we were going to be doing. And so I think putting that aside, putting your trust in you, for me has been like a massive release, really. It's allowed me to be much more open about the way that I've learned and the way that we've engaged. So that's been really great. And it perhaps goes against perhaps what we as leaders, the way that we operate in the workplace. But it's, I think, to be able to follow intuition, follow guidance, and access the intuition that we already have is really important.
Brilliant. And then finally, what I'm sure everyone would be really interested to know what your purpose is that we discovered, and maybe tell us a bit more about what you're going to do and what some of your immediate plans are with that, because it's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So it's such a big change from being in the world of HR. So what I've found my purpose is to be a healer, predominantly of animals, but also of their humans, and to sort of widen that out, to kind of go into animal communication as well. Okay. So this was something that came intuitively, that I had no idea what animal communication was, and I kind of thought that sounds a bit weird. But when I looked into it, I realized it is a real thing, and animals communicate in telepathically to each other all the time. That's how they communicate what their intentions are, what they're doing in the wild. And we as humans used to be able to communicate with animals naturally, because that's how we communicated before we had language. But that kind of died away and faded away when we started to speak. So to learn to communicate with animals telepathically by sending and receiving a series of images, thoughts, feelings, senses, to be able to understand what they think, how they feel about things, and to be able to heal that way. So on a small scale, perhaps with dogs and horses, for example, as pets, to be able to heal the relationship between humans and improve that relationship, and to be able to make a difference to an animal's life. But also on a larger scale with perhaps wildlife, wild animals, to be able to heal, you know, on a larger scale, to impact the planet ultimately by the way that humans impact with animals. So to do that, I have already embarked on a journey of Reiki. So I'm learning Reiki healing, and I'm practicing now on some people, but also on animals as well. So that's amazing. And also started the animal communication process as well. And that, like I say, will link in with the healing.
Oh, that's fabulous. And I know it's just so exciting for you, and you know, we've talked about where you might go, and really the scale of that, and that's just amazing to see. So how did you feel when you actually when we discovered what that purpose was?
I was so
like
excited, but I just couldn't believe it, because it's so different. I mean, I had spent my childhood around animals, and I was, you know, that was my whole life as a child growing up, being around horses and dogs particularly, and perhaps farm animals. And I always wanted to work with animals, and I was kind of steered away from that as a child to go into business, which is why I went into HR. And I think really just going back to what my childhood was about, to go back to what I probably knew as a child, that I wanted to work with animals, wanted to help animals. So it was a huge surprise, but then when I think about it like in those terms, perhaps it isn't really. It was just buried beneath loads of baggage I'd created over the years.
Yeah, because there was a sense that you almost felt really comfortable once you knew what it was,
Yeah.
that was exactly what you were going to do and what you were meant to do. So it was just reconnecting back to it.
Yes.
To something that, like you say, that was already there, and you just needed to reconnect with it and rediscover it. So so that's, you know, really, that was really lovely to see that unfolding, and just to share that journey with you. So that was a really kind of special part of it, wasn't it, really, that we sort of got to that point, that you were really clear what your purpose was.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was yeah, it was a very special moment. So yeah.
Brilliant. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for sharing your own special sort of journey. And yeah, thank you. I'm sure it'll be really interesting for people to follow your journey as well. So thank you very much, Gemma. It's been really kind of you.
And thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. It's been wonderful to work with you.
Oh, thank you. It's so kind.
Thank you.